Hi guys. Okay, where should I put these? Okay, hey guys. So welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. A lot has changed. I moved into a new apartment. It's in downtown LA where it's so much very noisy. So you might hear things. I kind of wanted to just do a little August wrap up. I read about 10 books this month, so yeah, I just wanted to like share it with y'all and review them and talk about them. And yeah, am I a booktuber now? Maybe. I don't know. Okay, have my Goodreads up on my iPad. I've been getting so into Goodreads also. I've just been like watching so many booktubers like Kat from Paperback Dreams and Noelle Gallagher. Those are like my two faves right now, but so many others. And I've been finding so many too, so it's just been so fun for me. And I've been like following them on Goodreads, and I literally like use it like a social media app. I'm like, ooh, what are they reading? Like, it's silly, but yeah, I'm excited about it. Okay. So let's just get into it. So, the first book I read this month was The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I gave this originally 3 out of 5 stars, but then I changed it to 4 out of 5 stars, but now I'm kind of rethinking it and I don't know. Let me walk you through my thought process. So, this book essentially is talking about like 4 essential agreements that you should make in your life that will just like enhance your life, and you'll live your best life if you do these 4 things. What I really did like about this book was that it was really short and concise, and like, I don't know, there wasn't a bunch of like academic jargon, like anyone could understand it. And why I originally gave it 3 stars was because there's just parts that I just like wasn't into, parts that I didn't feel like were necessary. But then why I changed it to 4 stars was because I kept thinking about it. Like, I was thinking about it a lot. I found the 4 agreements to be really grounding at times. I thought it was good. Yeah, it's still 4 out of 5 stars on my Goodreads, but like, I don't really know if I fully agree with that. But I don't know. I'm gonna keep it like that for now. Yeah, so this is my first read of August. So the second thing I read this August was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I actually originally watched the Hulu series first, and then I read this book. So that 100% swayed my opinion on the book. So yeah, I mean, I really liked this book. I literally like swallowed it whole. Yeah, I really inhaled this book. I read it in like 2 or 3 days. I really liked her writing style, and I really want to read her other book. I think it's like her debut novel, Everything I Never Told You. It talks a lot about just like motherhood and family dynamics, and it's set in the 90s, so definitely has that kind of vibe. My thoughts. This might be controversial, but I actually think I like the Hulu series better. And this is why. I feel like the Hulu series gave us so much more. I feel like it was just so much more layered than this book. I feel like this book could have been so much longer. I don't know, something about the series, like it was just like so much more dynamic. And I still really did like this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because, you know, the book came before the Hulu series, like I get that. I don't know, I really liked Mia and Pearl's relationship better in the Hulu series. I liked it in this too. There were points that like seriously made me cry, but I don't know, like I just felt a stronger sense of their relationship in the Hulu series. I feel like in the series a lot of themes were more developed, like just like the theme of like race and class and just like stuff like that. I don't know, I liked better. And also, I like the ending better in the series. I also feel like Izzy and Mia's relationship in the book was not as developed as it could have been. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just, you know, nitpicking and critiquing. I really did like the book, but I don't know, something about the series just like struck me a little more. I kind of just like the whole time was wishing that this was longer, if that makes sense. So yeah, but it's a really good read. Definitely like a good beginner for like adult fiction. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. The next thing I read was Sheets. This is a graphic novel by Brina Thumler, and it's so cute. This is what like the art style looks like. I love the art style in this. Honestly, it was so hard for me to not just like stare at it instead of reading it. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I was like kind of on the fence between 3 and 4, but I decided to give it 4 because I really like the ending. It's basically about this girl whose family owns a laundromat and her mother passed away, so she's pretty much the one who runs it. Her dad just kind of like doesn't do it anymore, and a ghost starts to like haunt her laundromat, but then they like kind of become friends, so like it's just really cute. So this was actually the first graphic novel I read in so long. I haven't read one as an adult ever. I read like Smile when I was a kid, and I read some like other graphic novels, and I read some manga, but like I haven't read a graphic novel in my adulthood. So this was just really fun. She's coming out with a second book, I think, called Delicates, and I'm just so excited to read it. This was just like such a nice light read, and I just really enjoyed it. So the next book I read this month was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I really liked this book. I was a little nervous going into it because it's like about a pandemic, but I was like, it's chill, like I can handle it, and I did. I found the beginning to be a little slow, but once you got into it, like I don't know, I really liked the world of it. I guess that's kind of weird to say because it's like pretty damn devastating, but it was just really interesting to like see how humanity would, I don't know, hypothetically be if like a pandemic were to like wipe out 99% of the population. I don't know. Okay, it follows like 3 storylines, and they all kind of like really beautifully, harmoniously come together in the end, which is super satisfying. It also follows like a little theater company that's like traveling around, but they get into some stuff, and it gets like kind of culty. There's a prophet, there's a lot going on in this for sure, but I don't think it's really that hard to follow once you get into it. At first it was a little hard to follow because there's a lot of names and stuff like that, but yeah, once you get into it, I really liked it. Like I was really vibing with it, to be honest, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. So the next thing that I read was The Alchemist. I have a lot to say. I was so excited for this book. I was so excited. This book was so freaking hyped up, and I was just like, I don't know, I've been really interested in reading more like spiritual and I don't know, like things that are gonna make me like feel things and understand things, and kind of like why I read The 4 Agreements. The Alchemist has just been like so hyped up, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so excited. And I found it at a bookstore like a few months ago for $6, this edition. Yeah, and it was such a letdown. Personally, I was just like, like when I think about it, I get angry. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. So in the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm okay with this, like, let's keep going. And then I was just like waiting for myself to feel something, or like I don't know, get some greater point out of this. And then it ended, and I was like, what? For any of y'all that have read The Alchemist, like, what are your thoughts on the ending? Because I hated it. Like, I was like, this can't be the ending. Like, what? And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why did I even give it 2 stars? I'm mad. There were parts that I liked and then I, you know, wanted to remember and possibly look back on in the future, but I was just like so upset by the ending. I just feel like, I don't know, it didn't do it for me. It was a big letdown, to be honest. And like, yeah, no. So next I read All Along You Were Blooming, Thoughts for Boundless Living by Morgan Harper Nichols. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. It was good and I liked it. I really like this poet on Instagram. I found her on Pinterest actually, and then I followed her on Instagram, and I love what she posts on Instagram. Like, I think her poetry is really dope and I'm like super into it. And I really was into a lot of this. If you can tell, the beginning was so good to me. Like, there was poems in the beginning that were like really moving me and like making me emotional, and then the rest of it wasn't. After page like, I don't know, 70, I was bored. Like, I was just kind of bored. But it wasn't bad, you know, necessarily. It was not bad. Obviously, poetry is super duper subjective, and I really did like a lot of the poetry in the beginning. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. It was generally good. I would read it if you like poetry. But you might not like all the poetry, and that's kind of just how it is with poetry books. So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. I would definitely follow her on Instagram because she posts like really cool content. So yeah. Oh yeah, next. Next I read Avatar: The Last Airbender, Imbalance Part 3. I love this. I gave it a 5 out of 5. Yeah, I loved this. I'm currently watching Legends of Korra, and I just love the Avatar universe. I just love it so much. I'm fully on the Avatar and Legends of Korra side of TikTok. You know how it is. So yeah, this was just like really fun, and it was just like so nice to like be back in their universe and like hear another little story. Like, it was just so nice. So I gave it 5 out of 5 because I loved it so much. So next I read Room by Emma Donohue. So I've actually seen this movie like 2 or 3 times. I like the movie, and I've had this book on my shelf for like 5 ever, seriously, like so long. I've just been trying to like read through my collection, so I just picked this up. It's basically about this woman who's kidnapped when she's 19, and she has a son while she's in captivity, and he calls the room that they're held captive in room, and that's the only place he knows. Until he's 5 years old, he doesn't know that there's an outside. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I did like it. Like, it was good. Like, when I rate books 3 stars, I like it. Like, I still had a good time for sure. But it wasn't my favorite. I don't know. I feel like the biggest turnoff from this book is that it's like narrated from the point of view of the 5-year-old. It was just confusing at some points. Like, I don't know, the sentence structure and like the grammar sometimes were just like so incorrect that I would have to like reread sentences and be like, what does that literally mean? And like, it just didn't make sense because it wasn't always like that. Like, sometimes the boy would be thinking things and they would be such like way more complex sentences and words used, and then like sometimes it just wasn't. Sometimes like it just wasn't at all. It wasn't cohesive the entire time. I read this fairly quickly. Like, I enjoyed the reading process, but I didn't think it was an amazing book. So yeah, that's all. Yeah, it was all right. It happened, and now it's not happening. So next. So the next book I read was The Lumberjanes. This is by a variety of authors and illustrators. There's like I think there's like 5 or 6 stories inside of this. It's the Campfire Songs edition, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I was kind of going back and forth between doing 4 or 3, but ultimately I decided to give it 4. On the back it says, fans of Adventure Time and Steven Universe can rejoice for the existence of the Lumberjanes, and I totally agree with that. I really like Adventure Time and Steven Universe, and when I read that part, I was like, 4 out of 5, honestly, because I was like, that's so true. I feel like why I was gonna give it 3 was because I was like not that satisfied that there wasn't like one cohesive story, but whatever. There was just like a little bunches of stories, little bunches of adventure, and I still really enjoyed them. I feel like I'll definitely pick up more of these graphic novels if I get the chance. I feel like another thing that kind of swayed me to choose 4 stars was definitely the characters. Like, the characters were so cute and so fun. It also had like gay representation, and yeah, there was like 2 girls that were dating, and they're so cute and I love them, and I don't know, I had fun, so 4 out of 5. All right, so the last book I read was The Girls by Emma Klein. This was a book that I didn't really know that much about going into it. I watched some book reviews. I also saw in one of Paperback Dreams videos, her and her sister talked about this, and they were like, yeah, it's so good, like, I love cult books, and I was like, okay, vibes, like, I can get into that. I gave it, what did I give it? I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I do have a lot of thoughts. I liked it, I enjoyed it, I like read it in like 3 days, like I had a good time, but it had flaws, I think, for sure. I didn't love the beginning of it. I also felt like the flash forwards of her as an adult were kind of meaningless. The book essentially is about this girl, her name's Evie. She's chilling in like the late 60s, and it's just kind of like her point of view of how she kind of gets swept up in this cult summer before she's supposed to go to boarding school. It definitely has that feeling of like just being a young girl and like just wanting to be accepted by anyone and everyone, especially boys. So she kind of just like joins this cult, and I mean, it's also not as simple as that, I guess, but she loosely joins this cult. It's based loosely off the Manson cult and the Manson murders. The 2 characters, Evie and Suzanne, I found their relationship very interesting, and I found that their growth and that development was definitely admirable in a sense, although I always wanted more. Like, this was another book where I was just like, give me more, like, I need more information, like, I need more from this. I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending. I also felt like when Suzanne visited Evie at the end, it was so purposeless. It literally just, I don't know, like, why? Like, I would have enjoyed that if like anything came out of that interaction, but nothing happened, like literally nothing. Like, I don't know if that was supposed to be like symbolic or something, but I just didn't understand. Like, I think what frustrated me so much was that these 2 characters like never had a conversation that felt meaningful. Like, I don't know, and like I guess that like is partly because of their really weird and complicated relationship, but I don't know, I just feel like there definitely could have been something sprinkled in there. Also, it definitely was hard reading this book in like a 2020 lens, because this was in the 60s, 70s, and obviously they're in a cult, and most of the time what's going on is pretty disturbing. So yeah, that was kind of hard, but I did like Evie's character. I liked how impressionable she truly was. I also thought the whole cult dynamic was done pretty well. The cult leader was definitely just as creepy as I imagine any cult leader would be, and I feel like that was written very well. Like, he was creepy, he was weird, and every time he was around it made me uncomfortable, so I get it, like that was done well. Yeah, I found myself really encapsulated by this story, but I do think it could have been worked on, is all I'm saying. So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. Those are all the books I read this August. I'm really proud of myself for reading that many books. I did not know I was capable of that. I actually just started Animal Farm by George Orwell. This is the really pretty centennial edition. I've been meaning to read George Orwell for a really long time, so I started with Animal Farm. And yeah, it's just like really short, so I thought it'd just be like nice and quick for the beginning of September. And yeah, I have about 10 books on my shelf that I want to read before Christmas, so I can kind of get more books for Christmas and like haul them and just have a bunch of new reads. But yeah, so that's all for this August wrap up. Thanks for watching. I had such a good time wrapping up all the books that I read this August. So yeah, I hope you guys got some like good suggestions, and keep reading, and I'll do the same thing. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I'll see you in my next video.